जब भी एक इन्वेस्टर डिसीजन लेता है अबाउट सच लॉस मेकिंग और सच बिग बेट्स, so how do you compare as an investor that burn versus the market that you acquire?
Especially when you're buying in new age companies, you're buying early stage, you never buy what is there today. You pay for what might be tomorrow. The economics of the VC business is like this. Your downside is limited to the money you pay. Your upside could be infinite.
You were one of the initial investors, and
we were the first check, yes.
Yeah. So how much did you invest and what is it worth now?
Market cap is over 3 lakh crores. That's about maybe 40,000 crores.
Now Deepinder has gone beyond food delivery. He started LAT Aerospace with Surobi Das.
Well, it is an audacious bet. It's ambitious. It's trying to do something which nobody's done in India earlier.
Also, sir, you're a Padma Shri.
Shri Sanjeev Bikhchandani, Vyapar evam Udyog.
So the first inkling I had that something might happen, I think a week before the announcement, where I got a call from somebody at IIM-A, where I had studied, saying, Sanjeev, the Home Ministry called up to do a reference check on you.
Hi, welcome to the Corner Office show powered by Procura. Today we are sitting with one of the legends of the Indian business and Indian startup ecosystem. He was the first investor at Zomato, and he also founded India's first internet company. Coming from scratch, he built Naukri.com, Jevansaathi.com, 99 acres. He is also a Padma Shri awardee for his contributions to trade and commerce.
Speaking to Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Mr. Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Mr. Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Sanjeev Bikhchandani.
Hi, thank you for calling me.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for giving us your time. It's an honor for a growing channel like ours.
Not at all.
Okay, so sir, let's start with Zomato. Walk me through when you first heard this little company called Foodiebay. What interested you back then?
So Foodiebay was a website, some app nahi tha. It was a website which I was using for a fair bit of time. My son was using, and we are both foodies. So we would figure out Saturday, Sunday kahan jana hai lunch ke liye, and we would check out Foodiebay. There were other restaurant listing sites also, but Foodiebay was the only one with all the menu cards, and I found that particularly useful, the menu cards. So you could say, okay, fine, we're going out for lunch. There are these 8 restaurants in Khan Market. This is the menu, this is the price. Where do you want to go? It gave you detailed information. And we had been investing in startups for about a couple of years. And one day I spoke to Hitesh Oberoi, who's the CEO of our company and co-promoter of InfoEdge. And he said, have you seen Foodiebay? I said, yes, I use it all the time. He said, so do I. It's very useful. You're looking at startups to invest in. Why don't you look at Foodiebay? When he dropped, and I said, yeah, why not? So I went to Network Solutions website, which is a domain registrar. I did a who is search, who owns the domain name Foodiebay. And I found admin contact Deepinder Goyal. I then did a Google search on Deepinder Goyal, and I found an email ID somewhere. And I sent an email, blind, cold, saying, hi Deepinder, are you the same person who is behind Foodiebay? If so, well done. My name is Sanjeev Bikhchandani. I'd like to meet you sometime. 2 दिन बाद जवाब आ गया, and I called him over, and we kind of hit it off, because I found extreme clarity. He was 28 that time. I found extreme clarity. I found great customer focus, customer insight, superior execution skills. Although it was a tiny company, in those days.
Tell me, how much did you invest? You were one of the initial investors, and
we were the first check, yes.
Yeah. So how much did you invest, and what is it worth now?
Yeah, I don't know what it's worth now. We own about 13% of 12, between 12 and 13% of Eternal. Market cap is over 3 lakh crores. That's about maybe 40,000 crores, maybe 35,000 crores. We were solo in the first 4 rounds. Then we defended pro rata a couple of times. And eventually we diluted down, as more and more capital came in, and it became too big for our balance sheet to continue to hold on to our percentage shareholding. So we kept diluting. So the first one check would have, I don't know, maybe 2,000 times.
So now Deepinder has gone beyond food delivery. He started LAT Aerospace with Surobi Das. So what do you know about that venture?
Well, it is an audacious bet. It's ambitious. It's trying to do something which nobody's done in India earlier. Knowing Deepinder, knowing the management team of all the people he's worked with, he does take bold bets. He sometimes fails, but often he succeeds. But he doesn't stop trying to experiment. So this is something they're doing, and let's see what happens.
Right. And did you participate in the 50 million funding round?
I think we might have. I'll have to check.
Okay. So let's rewind to when Zomato pivoted to Blinkit. They acquired Grofers, and I think they came up to you with that plan. So what was your response like?
So they already owned 10% of Grofers, which became Blinkit. They went public. Post going public, Deepinder came to the investment committee of the board saying that we think it's a good idea to acquire all of Blinkit. And initially there was apprehension at the board. आपका main business loss making है, which is food delivery at that time. You are acquiring another loss making business, large losses. So if you do that, you have two large loss making businesses or two businesses making large losses. Your share price is below your IPO price, that the market was down. So investors are going to be very, very skeptical of this move. And so obviously we pushed back initially. We said, look, all these factors are there. He said, yes, but we should do it anyway. And then he said that, look, the main business, the food delivery business, will be profitable within 2 quarters. तो हमने कहा फिर 2 quarter wait कर लो to acquiring Blinkit. He said, no, the window of opportunity is now. If you wait 2 quarters, it will go away. Then we said, but two large loss-making businesses, even if one turns profitable, it's a risk, are you sure? He said, look, I know I can turn it around. I've studied it, I know what to do, so trust me. So the board trusted him.
जब भी एक investor decision लेता है about such loss making or such big bets, so how do you compare as an investor that burn versus the market that you acquire?
See, you never buy, especially when you're buying in new age companies, you're buying early stage, you never buy what is there today. You pay for what might be tomorrow. Now, what might be tomorrow is a bit of a bet. It's a bit of a leap of faith. It's a bit of, your imagination, the founder's imagination, the ability to execute, what you've seen happen in other markets, other industries. And then you go in with, which is why, sometimes you fail and sometimes you succeed. But hopefully, see, the economics of the VC business is like this. Your downside is limited to the money you pay. Your upside could be infinite.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So let's say Foodiebay had failed after our first round. We lost 4.7 crores.
Correct.
We'd live with that. Foodiebay succeeded. Our 2000 time ban gaya.
Correct.
On that first round.
Understood.
So really, that's the game. That upside unlimited, downside limited to the price you paid.
Right.
And which is why you go ahead.
And also that reminds me, you yourself started your career in marketing with Horlicks. So what part of that learnings from there helped you, in your journey?
I think understanding of consumers. I think understanding of brands. I think understanding of communication, persuasion. Marketing strategy, advertising strategy. All that, is something which you use in consumer businesses, whether or not it's tech.
So, yeah, walk me through your IIM days. What were those days like, and what was your mindset coming out of IIM Ahmedabad? So,
I was pretty clear when I joined that I eventually want to be an entrepreneur. Not immediately, perhaps, but after a few years of working. And my 2 years at IIM-A, did nothing to dissuade me from that. So I was never attracted to all these large corporations and, I'll make a career as a professional manager. That was not my goal at all. So I graduated from IIM-A saying, okay, I'm from Delhi. I have a home base there. So if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to start in Delhi because that way, my costs are lower. So I must look for a job in Delhi. Right? Not Bombay, not Bangalore, Delhi. Which is what I did. I got a job in Delhi. Right? I had gone to IIM with 3 years of prior work in advertising. So I was clear I was not going to join a company after IIM as a trainee, which is what others would do. So I must get a job, a lateral job, not at the entry level. So I had to go outside of placement to get that job. I did not go through a placement process. That was important to me. I've done advertising, maybe I should do consumer marketing for a few years to learn something new. So these 3-4 things were there. Beyond that, my course mix that I chose not to specialize. Because I said that if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I need to know enough stuff across all functions, marketing, sales, finance, accounts, operations, organization behavior, human resources. So I took a mix of courses I did not specialize. So and that is fine with me. A lot of people would take finance heavy or this heavy, that heavy, because that's the industry they were going into and that's the industry where they wanted to make a career. But I was clear as an entrepreneur, I need to be a general manager and know a bit of everything.
So, sir, can you break it down for me? How can early founders be critical and self-analyze their ideas and not go all in? Or when should they go all in? For example, if I take your example, InfoEdge was a working name since 1990.
G.
And you did a number of things. And if I think I'm right, you've done 20 little things. Your 21st little thing was Naukri.
So there is no one formula, no one route. I had no capital, right? I had no savings. I am not from a business family. So I was prepared to take smaller risks. And therefore, we ran very frugally. We kept our costs low. In the first 10 years, for 7 years, I didn't take a salary myself. I would teach on weekends in order to earn some pocket money. So I was drifting, I was pottering around, I was doing many small things. And we did one more small thing called Naukri, and it turned out to be a big thing.
Right.
And that's what happened to us. But all along, in those first 7 years before we did Naukri and after I quit my job, we were always learning. And we were slowly accumulating, every year, 1 more computer, 2 more computers. We expanding the office space a bit. 1 second air conditioner, all that. We were building up, assets slowly with whatever surplus we had, and we were getting by.
Right.
When Naukri happened, in the first year we did 2 crores 35 lakhs of sales. Second year was 18 lakhs. So that's when I had never seen anything grow 7x in 1 year, even of a small base.
Right.
So that's when I sat up and said, okay, we may have stumbled upon something big. So that's when we stopped doing everything else and said, we are an internet company and we've got to focus.
Right. And so this was this before the dot-com bubble in the US?
So this is 97, we launched Naukri. The dot-com bubble burst in 2000. So I guess the bubble was on in the US, or had just begun in the US. I didn't know it because I was not tracking the US. I just, we were doing a product and trying to sell subscriptions to our clients. So we were kind of isolated, except that we were able to raise venture capital in April 2000 because there was a bubble in the US where people were very interested in the internet investing, and that trend came to India as well. So we benefited from that. And the bubble burst in April 2020 or maybe March 2020, March 2000, April 2000, March 2000. And then, we, I guess, lost any further chance of raising a second round.
Right. So walk me through the venture funding that you did. How did it go and how did you scale post that?
Essentially, we were taking jobs from newspapers and magazines of the appointment ads and compiling them into a database and putting it up.
Right.
So we would get about 29 newspapers and magazines from around the country into our office. There was a shop called Central News Agency in Connaught Place in Delhi, in Madras Hotel. And every day a peon would go to our office. And I had given him that on Mondays pick up these papers, Tuesdays, because appointment ads would come in these papers once a week. So I had sort of put down which day what paper from which city. And he would buy them and bring them. We had 2 data entry operators in the office. We had a format. They would take the jobs and input the information in the format. Right? And we would upload them onto the website.
Right.
And we sort of, traffic began to come almost instantly. Around September 97, in those days, there was an 8-year waiting list for a telephone line, landline, okay? So the telephone would sit on my desk in the office because it was a precious, scarce resource.
Correct.
And I would pick up every call. And phone rang. It was 5:36 in the evening, and I picked it up. And there's this gentleman on the other end, and I am so and so. I am the MD of so and so company. It was a small to mid-sized auto component company in Pune. I have forgotten the name, which is a pity. But that was our first paid client. And he said, you have taken. I had advertised in the papers, and you took my jobs. And I got a good response. Now, I've got 6 more jobs which I have not advertised. If I send them to you, will you put them up? I said spontaneously, yes, sir, but you'll have to pay. How much? Now, I had not thought of. So, मेरे मुंह से निकल गया 350 रुपए. So, you'll have to pay 350 rupees per job. So, okay, no problem. I'm sending you a demand draft of 2,100 rupees along with the job information. I have your address on the website, company name, so I'll send you a demand draft. I said, thank you, sir. 2 days later, a courier turned up carrying 6 jobs along with a demand draft. And that's when we said, hey, we've got a revenue model here. And so we took out all the old jobs that we'd uploaded over previous 6 months since we started the website, took out the designation, the company name, the address, city, pin code, and it deduplicated them. There were about 3,000. So these are separate companies, see, up till then. These jobs we डाले थे. And we sent them all a letter, a physical letter, in Indian Postal Service, saying, this is the internet. This is Naukri, this is how it works. We've taken your jobs in the past, you must have got responses. If you have any more jobs, you can put them on 350 rupees per job or 6,000 rupees unlimited jobs through the year for your company.
Right.
And form attached है job का, उसको photocopy करके form भर दीजिए और भेज दीजिए. And we sent that out and we began to get checks. So in the first year, we did 2.35 lakhs of sales. Second year, it went to 18 lakhs through those efforts. 18 lakh का 36 lakh हो गया. Around mid-99, we began to get phone calls saying, may we please invest in your company?
Wow.
So I had never heard of venture capital. These are venture capitalists calling up. India में होता नहीं था. These are venture capitalists who are visiting from the US, overseas Indians who are coming down for a week, trying to find deals and go back. I was intrigued. So मैं एक दो मीटिंग ले गया. So we, so a guy sitting across the table in Taj Man Singh coffee shop, Machan, breakfast. He's not been to our office. He's been in for the first time. He's just seen the website. And he says, I would like to invest $2 million in your company for 25%.
Wow.
I said, wow, so I'm trying to figure out, I can't comprehend with $2 million कितना होता है. फिर मैं थोड़ा mental math किया, उस समय $40 था, तो शायद 8 crore है. Okay, now I cannot comprehend 8 crores. We are a company doing 3 lakhs a month revenue.
Correct.
मेरे को 8 crore समझ नहीं आया कि ये तो बहुत पैसा है. I had never seen that kind of money. So I said, okay, but what do we do with the money?
Correct.
So he says, very simple, you'll spend on advertising and that will be brand and barrier to entry. And then 6 months from now, we'll raise twice as much money at 4 times the valuation. And 1 year from now, we'll list you on NASDAQ. So I said, Acha. I didn't know what NASDAQ was. Yeah. I'd vaguely heard of it. I figured it's something to do with the stock market, but I didn't know exactly what it was. NASDAQ kya hai? Okay. So, but I knew advertising kya hai, because I had worked in advertising and marketing early on in my career. So I said, listen boss, we are a profitable company. If we spend this money on advertising, we'll go into a loss immediately. And that money will never come back. Because आप advertise करोगे तो sale तो नहीं होगी उतनी. Right?
Right.
You will just advertise. Sales will follow its own logic and trajectory. उतना market ही नहीं है शायद. हमारे कोई sales people है नहीं. हम तो direct mail से बेचते हैं. तो I say, this is the problem with you Indian entrepreneurs. You want to make a profit. Nobody makes a profit on the internet. This is the new economy. Right. It's okay. It's a valuation game. Right? And I'm looking at him and saying, yeah, this guy, I don't know, we seem to be from different planets. हमारा ये था cost, revenue, profit, break even. Correct. Right? So I walked away saying, we're not ready for investment yet. When we become ready, I'll come back to you. So thank you so much. So we went back to not raising venture capital. And I said, यार इस साल 36 लाख हो रहा है. अगले साल 60 लाख हो जाएगा. मेरी तनख्वाह निकल जाएगी. So my sole ambition at that stage was I should earn a salary. Company should be viable, company should break even, company should make some money, and I can take a salary. क्योंकि मैंने बहुत सालों से salary नहीं थी. A company called Jobs had launched, having raised $7 million. And they launched with a launch ad campaign on the India-Pakistan cricket series in Sharjah. और हम थे डायरेक्ट मेल वाले 3 लाख रुपए महीने का वाले एंड ये तो उनका लॉन्च एड कैंपेन अलोन वाज आई थिंक 75 लाख ट्वाइस एनुअल टर्नओवर. So that's when we died of fright. And we woke up and we said, we can't be a 60 lakh company next year and make a 10 lakh profit. We have to become a 6 crore company in 3 years' time and make a 50 lakh profit. Yeah, and in the interim, we'd make a loss while you're jumping from orbit A to orbit B. So we went back into the market. And this time I went out proactively and met 3-4 VCs. I got a friend to give me some, who was a banker, give me some names and phone numbers. मैं 4 VC से मिला और हमको 3 term sheet मिल गई.
Wow.
That is the thing about a booming market, a bubble. Right? I mean, we're a good company, so we deserve the term sheets, but I got them a lot easier than I would have got them had it been a sluggish market.
Right.
Eventually, we went to the ICICI Ventures and we raised 7.3 crores for 15% of the company, roughly. That was in April 2000. Now, we got lucky because the market melted down just then. So, we'd got the money, we'd got it at a high valuation, and we didn't have time to spend the money foolishly.
Right.
So, we just put it in fixed deposit in the bank and said we'll grow the company slowly. And this is the only money we'll ever get because और पैसा मिलेगा नहीं. We are clear about that. So इसी पैसे से बनाना है.
Okay. And the IPO for Naukri came out in 2006, if I'm not wrong.
That is right.
How was the IPO experience like? How was that feeling to ring that bell and take your company with you?
So I tell you, See, the IPO process is a fairly grueling process.
Correct. Pre-IPO.
बहुत मेहनत का काम होता है. To regulatory documentation, staffing the company, changing the internal systems, implementing an ERP, right? Doing the DRHP, going clause by clause, reading it, doing a roadshow. So at the end of it, you're kind of exhausted,
Right.
right? So there was a sense of happiness and there was a sense of relief that it got done because you were stressed about it. And there was a sort of a certain sense of exhaustion.
Correct.
Yeah? So it's not as if, you're ready to party. Because ab thak gaye ho. ठीक है, it worked for 13 months to do the IPO.
If I talk in terms of competition of Naukri, one of the names recently, if I see, is Indeed. Indeed is a global name. And how has it been playing out with Indeed?
I think we are a market of the network effect or of the virtuous circle. We've got the most jobs, therefore we get the most traffic. We get the most traffic, therefore we get the most response. Get the most response, therefore we get the most clients. Get the most clients, therefore we get the most jobs. So it snowballs. Now, once you have this virtuous circle snowballing in your favor, it's very as a strong incumbent. It's very hard for a new website or app to come and displace you unless you make a mistake or they do something different.
Correct.
So whether you look at Indeed or Monster or any other competitor we've had, we had the advantage of being first mover.
Of course.
With a established, virtuous circle, snowballing in our favor.
Right.
Therefore, we made the most profits. And we reinvested a lot of those profits into product innovation, into superior sales and service, into advertising. And all that helped cement our position. So the competitor we look at actually is LinkedIn. Because that model is different.
Correct.
See, Indeed is actually very similar to our model. They are job listings.
Yeah.
Right? So that becomes, a competitor we look at and not Indeed so much.
Also, sir, what is your opinion on growth at all costs? We see companies spending 100 rupees to do a revenue of 10 rupees. Is that something which...
That's not something we encourage.
Right.
Okay, I mean, you got to keep on sharpening your value proposition, keep on improving your product, keep on building customer switching costs, getting profitable customers. You must be selling at a price that's higher than your cost. Hopefully a low customer acquisition cost because you should have a pull product, not a push product.
Correct.
That's what we believe in.
Okay. So, sir, tell me then, how was it branching into ventures like Jeevansathi and 99 Acres? What was the thought behind them?
So little history on Jevansaathi. We launched Naukri in 97. We raised venture capital in 2000.
Right.
But we launched Jeevansathi in December 98. Okay. Just as one side project, since the tech person had some spare time. And I went to him and I said, Dekho, we've done jobs. That's one category in print or advertising. Another category is matrimony. Let's do matrimony. I gave him a brief, he produced it. We floated it. We devoted no money, no people, no resources to it. It was purely on the net and self-service. Right? And when ICICI invested, they said, listen, we're investing in Naukri, Jeevansathi band karo. Also change your auditor. We want a big 5 auditor.
Okay.
So we went to auditors who were small auditors and told them, I'm sorry, we have to part company because we need a big 5 because ICICI is saying this. So they said, hey, no problem. We were thinking of shutting our CA practice and starting a .com anyway. Bubble time.
Wow.
So हमने बोल दिया कि आप ये जीवनसाथी रख लो. You keep 45% share. हम 45 रखते हैं. 20 we'll give to employees.
Yeah.
So this is a farewell gift to you. लेकिन आप चलाओ.
Wow.
Okay. So we got Jeevansathi out of the company. And it went to our former chartered accountants. वो 3-4 साल चलाया उन्होंने. They were unable to raise money, meltdown ho gaya tha. They were doing 1 lakh a month and somehow breaking even, but it had not become a big company. Meanwhile, Naukri, first made losses, then make profits, and became a decently sized company. And we began to accumulate money in the bank. So we said, what do we do with the money? And we said, why don't we buy back Jevansaathi from Rohit and Amit Tandon, who were former chartered accountants. So we went to them, made an offer, they agreed, they got some money, we got Jeevansathi back. Okay, and then we launched 99 Acres because one of our directors, who's lived in the US, had just sold a family property, and he said the market is totally opaque. You need an internet intervention here. Very hard to sell. And real estate was a very important advertising category in print.
Yes.
Yeah. So that became our third. So essentially, what we were doing was that we were following what was happening in print. Pehle jobs, फिर matrimony, फिर real estate, and trying to emulate that.
Right.
That was our strategy.
So again, these were brilliant moves. Given your experience with Naukri.com, you replicated in a way the same thing with Jeevansathi and with 99 Acres.
Bharat Matrimony and Shadi launched around the same time.
Okay.
Plus minus 1 year.
Right.
They were full-time focused on that.
I think that was the difference.
They did a better job. And therefore they pulled ahead. So Jeevansathi, when we got it back, was number 3.
Was it possible to burn aggressively and support these other companies?
So our strategy has never been to blast the opposition out of the water with sheer money.
Right.
You got to be a better product. You got to have a differentiated value prop. You got to be a better brand. You got to innovate. That's always been our philosophy. And so we're not the kind of people who suddenly say, okay, let's spend 200 crores in advertising on Jeevansathi and let's see what happens.
No, that makes sense. And that is something that is seen in all your companies and everything that you've done. So, so you did jobs, you did life partners, you did property, then you moved into
Education. So you see, even education is a big advertising category in print. So essentially we are following the money. Where is the money going in print? Advertising, print medium, newspapers, right? Can we get a share of that by creating a product and offering a platform which offers something to that segment that we get traffic and therefore we get advertising?
So how did PolicyBazaar come into the picture?
So I'll tell you, we went public in 2007. We had this money slushing around in the bank from the IPO. We had past money and we were profitable. There was more money coming in. So it became a situation, what do we do with this money? And we said, why don't we start investing in internet startups? We know that. We know that space.
Right.
Right? Now, so that's how we did maybe 8-10 companies between 2007 and 2012.
Okay.
Of those 2 was Zomato and PolicyBazaar.
Right.
Right? Now, PolicyBazaar was, Yashu Dahiya. Now, Yashu Dahiya had been in school and IIT with Hitesh. He had also gone to IIM Ahmedabad, where I had gone to take a few lectures, and he had been in the class, so I had met him. So I knew him a bit. Hitesh knew him really well. And, when he wanted to do this, he spoke to us.
Right. And during that phase of 2007 to 2012, what were your biggest learnings in terms of what do you look for in a startup or more importantly in a founder?
I think a few things in hindsight. We should not invest in thin margin businesses. We should invest in negative working capital businesses. We should invest in consumer brands. We should not invest in companies that keep inventory.
Right.
Right. We should invest behind really smart founders. We should invest behind first movers. We should invest behind companies that are solving an unsolved problem.
Correct.
Right. And therefore cost of customer acquisition is low.
Right.
We partly did it, but in hindsight. Us samay we were doing it and it was not as if we knew all this.
Right. But those are some golden insights. And in terms of, the situation in 2025, even the micro environment and even the macro environment, what are the sectors which are currently working and what are the
So
future bets?
we don't go sector wise. We do it bottom up. हमारे 20 लोग हैं जो investment देखते हैं. We meet about 1,000. We look at about 1,000 startups a quarter. हम 4-5 में invest करते हैं. That's how we do it.
Right. And so this is one thing which I have not seen or heard your opinion on, which is AI. What does the future hold and what are your particular
So look,
thoughts on
AI is an unstoppable force.
Correct.
It's a force of nature. It's a man-made force, but of course, but it is unstoppable. It's going everywhere, and it will change many, many things. So it's important that every company, every founder, every individual, every employee, every student, must understand how to use AI.
Correct.
So AI is happening. If you don't do it, it will be done to you. So you figure it out. But if you pick up a few tools on how to use AI, it's an important skill to have. It's a useful skill to have. It will improve your own productivity. It will help you save your job, or it will help you get your next job.
And in terms of the investment temperature, is it similar to the crypto fad which had come out in 2021? Or
So we
is
stayed
it
out of
much
crypto.
bigger than
We
that?
stayed out of crypto. I think AI is more real.
Right. You're also an advisor in the National Advisory Startup Council of Indian government. What's your role there? What do you focus
I'm a
on?
member. The council meets every 2-3 months. The council also organizes a few events, most notably Startup Mahakumbh. Members of the council get together and they organize a Startup Mahakumbh. All those things. I think it advises the government on startup policy and is a sounding board. अब आप देखिए अब deep tech की policy बन रही थी. They called 5-6 relevant people from the council. They come and give us your thoughts. There's a startup fund of funds. So there's a investment committee there. At least some of the members will be from the council. So it's a kind of resource pool, a kind of think tank, a kind of talent pool for the government to lean on when it comes to figuring out stuff around startups.
That's great. We have people like you voicing our opinion at such a forum. That's really great to know. Also, sir, you're a Padma Shri. This is my first time meeting a Padma Shri. What is that feeling like when you are given that honor, one of India's highest civilian honors? And
well, obviously, you feel good about it. Right? It's an honor, it's a privilege. You also know that, listen, the company has been built not by me alone, by 5,000, 10,000 people.
right.
And there are several people who've done more than me. Okay? So actually, do you deserve it in your name? Should it have been given to the whole company? But they don't give it to companies. They give it to individuals. Obviously, you accept it, with gratitude. It's an honor. So the first inkling I had that something might happen was, I think, a week before the announcement, where I got a call from somebody at IIM-A, where I had studied, saying, Sanjeev, the Home Ministry called up to do a reference check on you. Okay, I said, now, Home Ministry doing reference check, you get alarmed also, right? Ye kya ho raha hai? Okay, then they said, no, it's something good only, but you can't tell you more. I just want to tell you. Okay, the second inkling I got was 2 days before the announcement. I got a call, I'm so-and-so from the Home Ministry, to the Deputy Secretary, I think, and I need your home address. Okay, so I gave it, and then I figured maybe something is happening.
Right. That's very exciting to know. Besides all of this, I wanted your opinion on the complete startup ecosystem, how it has evolved, where it is right now, and where are we headed towards? Because you are one of the legends of the Indian startup. You were starting up when startup was not even a word. It was business back then. So, concluding, I would like to take your thoughts on the entire startup ecosystem. and
देखिए
where are we
बहुत
headed?
कुछ बदला है. एक नया तरह का entrepreneur आया है. See, in the 60s, see, India has always been an entrepreneurial nation. However, in the past, entrepreneurs have come out of business families, business castes, right? I have ज़्यादा चॉइस नहीं था तो बिजनेस कर लिया, राइट. But from the 90s onwards, maybe late 90s onwards, there's a new kind of entrepreneur. Educated, from a middle class family, first generation entrepreneur, who has choice. He can go and work for a large corporation, a multinational corporation. He can go to America if he wants. But they've chosen to do this. They're also exceptionally bright.
Right.
And they're the kind of people whom venture capitalists love to fund. And they have ambition, and they have attitude, and they are bold, and they want to do something big. And they are finding capital, and capital is finding them. And there are tens of thousands of such people in this country right now, maybe lakhs. So I began my career, working career, in '84 when I finished college. And I compare the business environment in 1984 to now. There's a sea change.
Of course.
Right? Yet, when I look at which are the companies and industries in the last 40 years since I began work, which have attracted investment, grown, given employment, got the buzz, built the brands, very often these are companies, so today's companies, very often these are companies that did not even, or industries that did not even exist in '84.
Correct.
So IT services industry barely existed. Internet did not exist. Mobile telephony did not exist. Private sector insurance did not exist. Private sector banks barely existed. Private airlines did not exist. Organized retail did not exist. E-commerce did not exist. Quick commerce did not exist. Company after company, industry after industry has come up in the last 40 years. So Infosys was a startup in '84, so was HCL. Giant companies today.
Right.
So it's pretty clear to me that the giant companies of tomorrow, many of them will come from startups of today. And it is startups that will make the difference to the Indian economy for innovation, for growth, for buzz, for attracting investment, for creating employment. A company like Zomato, like Eternal, can enable livelihoods for maybe 8-10 lakh people. Restaurants, delivery partners, Blinkit.
It's a sector originating company.
Right?
Yeah.
And they can do it in 7 years because that's when food delivery started at Zomato.
Correct.
Right? A company like PolicyBazaar can employ tens of thousands of people and enable livelihoods for a few lakh insurance agents through the affiliate program, right? And all this is being done in 15 years. Right? Whereas the established industries, once they're established, they mature, they get into automation, consolidation, efficiency. So if you look at the steel industry, while output has gone up of the Indian steel industry, employment has gone down.
Right.
Because they've got more efficient at it. तो अगर आपको jobs create करने हैं, नई चीजें करनी है, very often in startups.
Correct.
Okay. And therefore, I believe startups are really important, and equally importantly, they're happening. Very large number of high-quality entrepreneurs is trying. The government of India has launched the startup fund of funds, managed by SEBI, first in 2016, 10,000 crores, now a new one, another 10,000 crores. Therefore, the Indian venture capital industry is already kickstarted.
Right.
So I think the Indian startup, if you can call it industry or whatever, it's in a very good space.
Right.
And it's really important.
Those are some very rich thoughts.
And and this government, I think one of the things that we talked about maybe 20, 30 years from now. The IIT started in the early 60s. Ab 60-65 saal ho gaye. So one of the things that is talked about what the government of that era did. IIT स्थापित किया, IIM स्थापित किया. Those were great things. I think one of the things that this government will be remembered for 30 years from now will be startups, fund of funds, getting the whole startup ecosystem existed, but getting it going in a more formal manner.
Correct.
Okay, with the right institutions in place, I think this government may well be remembered for that.
Right. Very rich thoughts, sir. Thank you so much for that. Finally, sir, a lot of youngsters, a lot of wannabe founders, a lot of founders would be watching this. They would love to hear your 2 thoughts on how they should proceed in their journey and what is your advice to them?
I think, first of all, 2, 3 things. Observe the customer, meet the customer, talk to the customer or prospective customer. They will give you ideas. They will tell you the unsolved problems.
Right.
If you are solving an unsolved problem, your chances of success go up manifold.
Correct.
Which basically means make sales calls yourself. Don't just delegate it. So customer को मिलना, सुनना, बात करना, देखना, परखना, जानना, पहचानना बहुत important है, महत्वपूर्ण है. Knowledge of the customer, experience with the customer. Second thing is, it's good to have big dreams. We all do. I also did. When I was starting out. But because we didn't have capital, we had no choice but to start small.
Correct.
But starting small has a huge value because you make your mistakes when you're small and not spending too much money. It means the cost of failure is low and you're learning. So I would say dream big because dreams keep you going. So dream big but start small. Right?
Correct.
Third thing I'd say is that you've got to constantly, I think, innovate and be different and be first mover. Because आपकी कामयाबी वहाँ से आएगी.
Right. And one last thing I would like to add is looking at sir, stay humble because that is what sir personifies, being humble. And I think that is something that is taking you a long way.
Yeah, I think if people call me humble, I'm not that humble. Okay, I have very high opinion of myself. Okay, but yeah, I like to be approachable.
Lastly, if you'd like to, say how was your experience in coming on the Corner Office show?
I think it's great. I think it's very nice that you're doing this. And it's a new show. It's an upcoming show. So good luck.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for giving us your time.
Not at all.
I'm sure people will find this conversation very insightful. And I personally enjoyed it a lot. So thanks a lot. Looking forward to being in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, please like, comment, subscribe